5 things people misunderstand about popular foods. We all know how to eat, and most of us know how to cook, at least on some basic level. We can't all be Chef Bobby Flay, right? However, while we tend to have a pretty good idea of how food works, we often have misconceptions about particular recipes, especially when they come from other countries. There are also some ingredients that defy popular understanding and have things about them most people are not aware of. Number 5. Ricotta is not a traditional layer in meat lasagna. In America, most lasagnas are made by alternating layers of meat sauce, mozzarella cheese, ricotta cheese, and lasagna noodles. Some will mix this up by using cottage cheese or even cream cheese instead of ricotta. These people will often argue about who is right, and get quite heated about it, but actually, none of them are right at all. In a proper Italian lasagna, it is actually traditional to do a layer of noodles, meat sauce, mozzarella, and then bechamel sauce. The reason for the difference in America is that Italian restaurant owners adapted their recipes to more American tastes. There are also variations where the extra white sauce or white cheese layer is left out entirely, although this is not as common. While Italians use bechamel traditionally, you may still find a ricotta lasagna or a cottage cheese lasagna in a restaurant in Italy that is more tourist-traveled, as they are catering to the Americans. This doesn't mean there is anything wrong with making it however you want at home. But if you want to be traditional, using oven-ready lasagna noodles and ricotta is not going to get you there. Number 4. Peanut butter is American but not invented by George Washington Carver. Peanut butter and the peanut butter and jelly sandwich are basically the quintessential modern American food. Sweet and savory, cheap and convenient, and we can customize it however we want. It's a very American thing that many Europeans don't understand, and we can definitely claim to have invented it, or at least the modern version of it. The thing is that the Incas may have used some form of peanut butter hundreds of years ago, but that would at least still make it South American, even if not North American. In the modern world, peanut butter was first reinvented in 1895 by John Harvey Kellogg, the famous cereal maker, and has been a huge American staple since. As for George Washington Carver, contrary to popular belief, he didn't actually invent peanut butter, but that doesn't mean he wasn't a genius. Carver actually invented over 300 uses for peanut butter, including shampoo, shaving cream, glue, and so many others that it would take several articles just to list them all. This easily makes him one of the greatest inventors of all time, as few have spent such a singular study of something exploring absolutely every imaginable use. Number 3. Light roast coffee is actually stronger. Super strong coffee is a scam. Many people will go somewhere to grab a coffee, and if they are super tired, they go for the dark roast coffee, thinking that it will really wake them up. However, the truth is that they are actually shooting themselves in the proverbial foot. Now, it isn't like it will be that huge a difference, but if you are trying to really get the most out of your cup of coffee, you actually want as light a roast as possible because the beans haven't had as much mass burned out of them. Some of you may have also wondered about the caffeine behind those coffees that are covered with health disclaimers and promise to be super strong. The truth is these companies are basically low-key scamming you by overcharging you for a blend that contains an unknown percentage of low-quality coffee. You may have noticed that most of your coffee beans promise to be completely Arabica. This is because Arabica beans give you a way better experience. Robusta is 3 times as strong, gives you a terrible crash, and also tastes really bitter. Number 2. British people take food with their tea for a good reason. Many cultures around the world drink tea on a regular basis, but none is known more for literally making a meal of it than the British. For hundreds of years now, they have had a tradition of drinking tea in the mid-afternoon along with biscuits, cookies in America. For most outsiders, this looks like one of the most fun parts of their culture. After all, who doesn't enjoy stopping in the middle of the day to eat cookies and drink a delicious caffeinated beverage? However, while many may think the British just put this tradition together to flaunt their wealth during the days of the old British Empire or because they really like sweets, it is more complicated than that. The British actually have a very good reason for this tradition, and it involves the compounds that you can find in the black tea they love to drink. Black tea contains tannins, which you can also find in red wine, and can make you feel sick if you drink them on an empty stomach. As for why the British chose sweets to go with their tea, It is likely because those same tannins make black tea extremely bitter. Number 1. The hard taco is a completely American invention. In America today, it is probably more popular than not to eat your tacos with a hard shell. You see them in every grocery store, and in places like Taco Bell, they are heavily advertised as the flagship item. The combination of crispy, crunchy, and all the soft fillings is very satisfying to many, and there are a lot of Americans who couldn't imagine eating them any other way. However, what they are doing is certainly very American, as Mexicans don't really eat hard shell or crunchy tacos. It is hard to pin down just when it was actually invented, but it started really becoming popular in the United States in the early 1900s and has been popular ever since. If you go to Mexico, especially authentic restaurants, however, you will likely be disappointed if you want an American-style hard taco. Not only are they extremely unlikely to put a taco in a hard shell even to please tourists, but they actually tend to make most of their tortillas out of corn, as opposed to most being made of flour in the USA. A Mexican traveler looking at an American version of their food would be more confused than anything.